Afrocentrism for many in the Western world has taken on the role of the villain throughout intellectual spaces. This particular school of thought has advanced some controversial topics. Despite the controversy, however, I've never really actually heard anyone speak about how Afrocentrism began. So today, I wanted to touch on the history of Afrocentrism. What up, African world? It's Home Team here, and welcome back to another video of African history, culture, and worldview. By supporting this channel on Patreon, you're helping in the creation of these videos and supporting this content. If you'd like access to full courses and sources, or you simply want to show your support, you may do so by clicking the Patreon link in the description box below. Afrocentrism is not dissimilar from any other ethnocentric historical analysis like, say, Eurocentrism. All peoples at some point have advanced an ethnocentric bias or agenda in the retelling of their history. I think the issue boils down to who has the power to enforce their ethnocentric narrative. And historically, Europeans have been able to subject much of the world to a Eurocentric historical value system, virtually unchallenged. However, when it comes to Afrocentrism, the powerlessness of it leaves it undefended and open to constant ridicule and attack. But what is the actual history of Afrocentrism? Ironically, it began as a response to the ills of Eurocentrism. Afrocentricity is a collection of historical ideas that place people of African descent in the center of a given historical event. It largely seeks to avoid placing Africans and their descendants in subservient positions, historically speaking. In essence, with Afrocentrism, people of African descent are the primary agents in world history, as opposed to objects or props in other people's story. Although the term was used by Du Bois in the 1960s and by Black intellectuals in the 1970s, Molefi Asante, a professor of African American Studies at Temple University, is widely credited for coining the term. Asante's book, Afrocentricity, A Theory of Social Change, represents the first full-fledged attempt to clearly define the term and explore its implications for the study of African people. In the book, Asante outlined a tradition of Black intellectuals and activists that he built on in order to construct the idea. The list includes Booker T. Washington, Marcus Garvey, Martin Luther King Jr., Elijah Muhammad, Malcolm X, and Moulana Karenga. Along with these figures, Afrocentricity was also built on the intellectual work of the Senegalese historian Cheikh Anta Diop and the Black arts movement theorists and historians of Africa, such as George James, John Henrik Clarke, Joseph Ben-Jochannan, Ivan van Sertima, and Chancellor Williams. For many people in Africa and the diaspora, these men are intellectual pillars when it comes to Afrocentrism, whether or not we want to actually assign that title. Now, what really spearheaded Afrocentrism in popular culture was no doubt the topic of ancient Egypt. In the late 1980s and early 1990s, Afrocentricity garnered mainstream attention with its challenge to classical European history. Great controversy was caused by two arguments emerging from the Afrocentric school of thought. The first asserted that Egypt was the foundation of Black world culture and history, just as Greece was the foundation of Western civilization. The second argument, and the one that really caused more controversy, asserted the idea that Egypt was a Black civilization that served as a major philosophical, intellectual, and cultural foundation and inspiration for Greece. Various books by Martin Bernal, chiefly Black Athena, and Molefi Asante's work, Kemet, Afrocentricity and Knowledge, stood at the very center of this debate. Although Martin Bernal did not declare himself, of course, to be an Afrocentrist, his work gave some ammunition needed for African and African Americans, and their participation in the debate garnered them more attention in media. Afrocentricity became a central aspect of the cultural wars and debates over multiculturalism that raged in all areas of American life, especially in education, in the 1980s and 1990s. At the height of the debate, Newsweek magazine featured a stone image of Cleopatra wearing a red, black, and green African earring, and the cover read, "Afrocentrism, was Cleopatra black? Facts or fantasies?" A debate rages over what to teach our kids about their roots. Interestingly enough, Afrocentrism has evolved, as many of the old held ideas have changed concerning the identity of Cleopatra. Some of the leading intellectuals that supported and developed Afrocentric thought were Molefi Asante, Maluana Karengo, Asa Hilliard, Theophilo Benga, and many more, including some women like Professors Vivian Gordon and Clenora Weems. Some of the most popular intellectuals who opposed Afrocentrism was Mary Lefkowitz, Stephen Howey, and Henry Louis Gates. Regardless of the opposition, it became very clear that Afrocentrism was more than a historical position. It was a movement that sought to elevate and improve the social conditioning of Afro-descendant people. Several Afrocentric schools emerged in Philadelphia, Chicago, New York, Los Angeles, and other major American cities, providing education for children from elementary to high school. Some public schools adopted Afrocentric themes or incorporated Black history into the state curriculum, as was the case in Philadelphia and New Jersey. Colleges were apparently impacted the most, as hundreds of Black studies programs across the country designed their curriculum to adhere to an Afrocentric approach. Temple University established its first doctoral program in Black studies in 1987 under the leadership of Molefi Asante. In the political sphere, Afrocentricity rode the wave of the anti-apartheid movement and gained currency with the development of Kwanzaa and the Million Man March, led by the Nation of Islam in 1995. The idea also influenced hip-hop itself, as Afrocentric themes emerge in the lyrics of various artists such as Queen Latifah, Ice Cube, and Public Enemy, amongst many others. While I'm all out, guys, let me know in the comments section how you feel about the history of Afrocentrism as it perhaps compares to other ethnocentric historical positions. If you like these videos and want to help in its continued production, consider supporting the home team on patreon.com. The link is in the description box below. Know thyself, remember your ancestors. Peace.